So the Latte Stones are originally from Rota. They were taken by a private collector. They were purchased from Rota by a private collector and donated to the Honolulu Museum Academy of Arts, and it remained there for about 20 years before they officially transferred it over to the Bishop Museum in 1970. It remained in the Bishop Museum until I think it was 2021 or 20 that a group of Chamorros from Guam and NMI, including Mr. Tyler Worswick, Erlinda Napatu over at the JKPO, and her husband, came across the Latte Stones on the site of the Bishop Museum. And from there on, there were discussion on trying to repatriate these Latte Stones as well as the ones on Guam began. In July of 2025, this year, we finally signed the MOU to have the Latte Stones repatriated to the NMI Museum. The reason why they are brought over to the NMI Museum is because by law, Public Law 10-05, the NMI Museum serves as the official repository and the official custodian of all ancient artifacts and other cultural materials of the CNMI.
When I was there at the dock, I felt all my goosebumps just went on one side as it was unloading. But this one, it's a connection for us when we receive it from another place. Because one, not only does it connect our history with our people, it also reminds us of what had happened to us with all our artifacts coming. So the restoration of our cultural heritage, this alone coming here is wonderful. It's amazing for us to have it. The other one is to also think about that a lot of our Pacific Islands here were colonized. So this is again another form of peace for us when we receive it, that they're returning the items when we request for it. This one here tells us that we are working together for the restoration of the peace for our people.
They belong here, and they're part of our heritage. That's Chamorro, and that's the Latte Stone is the symbol of the resilience and the strength of the Chamorro people. It's good that they had it there for a while so people can know that we are still surviving ourselves, and it represents our culture. Everything about us being Chamorro, but for thousands of years, we're very resilient. Besides even the fact that we were occupied by four? The Spanish, the Germans, the Japanese, and then now the Americans, but we're still Chamorro. We're trying our very best to continue on and to teach our future generations the language and the culture. And this is one of the most important part of our culture, the Latte Stone. As you notice, and as you know, the Latte Stone is part of our CNMI flag. Na banidosu sa Matutati. And I'm proud that it is here. It's back at home, Masi.
This is part of the promise made by Bishop Museum and the University of Hawaii. The efforts of Governor Leong Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio to bring back the artifacts that had left our islands, same here in the Northern Marianas and in Guam. So this shipment is the second of many. I think it was on August 12th when we came back. Leni and I and some folks from the Historic Preservation Office came back, and we brought some artifacts that we could hand carry. So there's more in the inventory that Bishop Museum had promised to return to the CNMI. So this is great. It'll stay here where these artifacts belong, where they originated, and we thank everybody.
For now, the Latte Stones will remain at the NMI Museum grounds, and they will serve as a interpretive art museum piece to kind of display the symbolic meaning of what Latte Stones are for the Chamorro people. We often talk about Latte Stones inside the museum when we have kids come in, but we don't really have Latte Stones at the museum grounds to show them what they look like. We can always say, if you go to Tinian, you'll see them. And a lot of kids will eventually get to Tinian, and we hope they'd make it to Tinian to see Latte Stones or Rota, because there are amazing Latte Stones in Rota and Tinian. But at that moment, they're not really able to associate the image of what it is, right? Or really be able to touch a Latte Stone. And that's a really important part for, I think, kids to be able to connect visually, as well as be able to really touch it and feel the spirits of the Latte Stones. Tentatively, November 15 is what we are looking at for the official return ceremony. That's when the Latte Stones themselves will actually touch ground in the CNMI after 75 years. And that is also when we invite the public to come out. There will be publications, public announcements. We really have to work all those a lot of logistics to see if we can make that happen. But right now, 15th of November is what we're aiming for, to have the public join us for the prayer and welcoming the Latte Stones back home.